Good afternoon. As the trimmer cam here uh, grabs a little stability, and we will tell you it is Saturday, May 6th, 2023. We have a few birthdays and we have a few events. We have 5 events in total that I felt that were relatively significant. We'll start off in almost all of these, all but one happened at Talladega, so spoiler alert. 1979, Bobby Allison wins. Couple major things happen in this race besides Bobby winning. Buddy Arrington recorded his second career third place finish. This would be a more notable third place finish as he qualified fourth and ran at the front near the most of the race. But also during the race, I believe it was lap 10, 12, thereabouts, a huge crash happened. Buddy Baker blew a tire coming through the tri-oval as he was leading the race or running in the top 2 or 3, spun across the track and collected about 2/3 of the field that were running in the front pack. And there's a lot of different angles and footage of this as the race was being broadcast by MRN TV at the time. And during this wreck, Cale Yarborough's car went kind of flipping down the grass infield near turn one and came to a rest. And I guess, as rumor has it, he was getting out of his car and going over to check on Dave Marcus. Well, when that happened, DK Ulrich had blown tires after running through the debris, spun, and pushed Cale's car or Dave's car into the other one while Cale was still in between them, and pinned Cale between the two cars momentarily. And Cale fell to the ground, and he actually thought that he had lost his legs and had Dave check for him, when in actuality it was just pinched nerves and the feelings started coming back. And what had happened is Cale's legs were caught between the car and the tire, so the tire gave way a little bit and allowed for Cale to escape serious injury. Speaking of Cale, in 1984, he won the race, the spring race at Talladega, which featured a then record-setting 75 lead changes. So you have a 188 lap race, you have 75 lead changes. That is a lead change on average once every 2.5 laps. So that was an impressive race. 1990, Dale Earnhardt won in dominating fashion at Talladega. Runner-up was very surprising in his debut for this team. It was a team co-owned by Rick Hendrick and Paul Newman. Greg Sachs in the Slim Fast car, kind of an iconic car at the time. And I believe it was Slap Shoes may have done a video about how this team failing allowed for Jeff Gordon to come in, and if this team would have succeeded, it would have basically ruined what would have been Jeff Gordon's dynasty. So very interesting there how things fall into place a certain way. 1991 at Talladega on this day, Harry Gant wins the Winston 500. Multiple stories during this day, one of which was a big crash on the backstretch, triggered by the, as many people would probably call him, Ross Chastain of the day, Ernie Irvan. Ernie Irvan got into Mark Martin and a couple other cars while they were battling. Martin's car got way up in the air, almost turned over, and in the melee, Kyle Petty spun and got T-boned by Chad Little, causing Kyle to break his leg and miss several races. Kyle would return in the fall at Darlington. There was a few people that drove for Kyle during the interim, including Bobby Hillin and Tommy Kendall. So Harry did win the race. Controversial finish. Harry won on fuel mileage. And did he or did he not receive a push on the last lap by his teammate Rick Mast? So anyway, there's that. And the only non-Talladega highlight we have for you on this date in 2000 at Richmond, Dale Jr. wins his second career race. Not really significant, but when you consider the fact that during that race when he won it, he became the first two-time winner of the year 2000. And of course, a couple weeks later, he would go on to win the All-Star race. So the first 10, 11 races of 2000, Junior was really making it happen. And then just for whatever reason, the wheels fell off the wagon. So anyway, let's go to our birthdays. We do have a few birthdays with cards, which we will get to right here in a second. But we're going to start off in 1999 with current IndyCar star Pato O'Ward celebrating a birthday. On this day in 1975 was born Mike Borkowski. He was a Bill Davis driver, brought some AT&T sponsorship, and there was some lawsuits, litigation, and all sorts of fancy words getting involved that happened at some point. I want to say he did have AT&T sponsorship, but there was something that happened with the sponsorships. So Mike Borkowski. So let's get into the ones that we do have cards of. Born on this date in 1976, former modified standout Todd Szegedy. Now, as you see, both of these are the platinum version of the 2005 or 2004 press pass. But one is the holofoil, one is the base. As you can tell by the number with the prefix of the P. But they're both the platinum, and these are the only two cards that I had of Todd, strangely enough. Born on this date in 1962, former Slim Jim All-Pro Series standout and champion, Mr. Mike Cope. No relation to Derek. So here we have the base, and then we have the silver parallel. Of course, there is a blue parallel in 1997, but I don't have that one. And then born on this date, also in 1962, so sharing a birthday with Mike Cope, former Truck Series driver, Tammy Jo Kirk. Of course, she ran back in the early 90s. I want to say she might have been part of Jeff Bodine's team. Yeah, there it is. You see the Jeff Bodine hat. She ran a handful of races. I believe she was an ex-motocross racer. They were hoping to have big things, but like a lot of female drivers of the time, things didn't work out. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Like I say, there may be some speedrun videos up here later this afternoon. We'll just have to see what happens. But make sure you come back tomorrow morning. Not sure what we're going to rip, what we're going to show, what we're going to do. Usually decide that about 2 minutes before I hit record. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we will see you tomorrow.